Today, the New York Times got their hands on an analysis done by the National Park Service that showed that when the Trump administration gave a no-bid contract to a construction company to renovate the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool last month, they hired that company and had them start working before actually agreeing on what that project would cost. I mean, Trump initially said, remember, that it would cost less than $2 million. It is now slated for more than $13 million. And by the time the Trump administration publicly acknowledged that $13 million price tag, Trump had already personally toured the site and publicly touted the project, and even put out a strange video stylized like an Oval Office address about the project. So by the time it appears they actually started talking numbers, the government was hardly in a position to haggle. I mean, they were all in on the whole thing. Just to put this all in perspective here, think about it this way. Imagine you had to fix your roof in your house, but rather than call multiple contractors and try to get them to outbid each other and offer you the lowest price for the work, you called one single contractor and had them start working before you even agreed how much you would pay them. And then once they'd already started, once you lost all your potential leverage, then you haggled over a price. That's what the Times is reporting the Trump administration did to rush Trump's pet project at the reflecting pool. To justify the rush, a spokesperson at the Interior Department, which is overseeing the job, told the Times that the contract price reflects the effort necessary to expedite the timeline ahead of the country's 250th anniversary this July, which just so happens to be the same justification the Trump administration has given over and over again to give out one no-bid contract after another, some of which just so happened to go to the firm that planned Trump's rally on January 6th. Another just so happened to go to the firm building Trump's White House ballroom. Go figure. What a coincidence. Now, to state the obvious, the country's 250th anniversary is not a surprise. None of this work needs to be rushed. None of these contracts needed to be no-bid contracts. But the 250th anniversary of the country is proving to be quite the justification for Trump to get away with all sorts of sketchy things. And I'm not just talking about no-bid contracts. As I mentioned at the top of the show, less than a mile from the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship, has started construction on an octagonal cage built for a cage fight on the White House South Lawn. The fight, which is being billed as UFC Freedom 250, is being justified as a celebration of the country's 250th anniversary, even though the event will actually be held on President Trump's birthday, June 14th, which is Flag Day, but is not the 250th anniversary of the country. Now, Trump has repeatedly taken to social media not just to promote the fight in general, but to promote the fight's connection to a company called Stake, which gambling regulators say is an illegal online casino, while the company says they are simply a video game. And Trump just so happens to be repeatedly promoting this company and its role in the 250th anniversary celebratory White House lawn cage fight, whatever you want to call it. Now, just a month after the co-owner and co-founder of the company donated $1 million to the super PAC that supports Trump, MAGA Inc., but all of this, the no-bid contracts and the sketchiness around the cage fight, all of that may just be the tip of the iceberg in terms of what Trump is planning to use the country's 250th birthday to justify. The Wall Street Journal reports that Trump is thinking about issuing 250 pardons to celebrate the nation's 250th, which, considering how Trump's other pardons have gone, and how, despite the White House line that the many were targets of the Biden administration, many of them just so happened to go to people who enriched the president or donated to his political goals. It's all a giant new opportunity for grift. Happy quarter millennium, everyone, I guess. Joining me now is Norm Eisen, co-founder of Democracy Defenders Action and the publisher of The Contrarian. Okay, Norm, there's always a lot to ask you about. Corruption is rife. We're in a historic corruption phase here. Yeah, but I just want to start with the reflection pool, because the Times reports that the Trump administration used a mechanism called a letter contract to get the contractor to start the renovation work before they had actually agreed upon a price that, as I noted, they didn't negotiate over, it seems. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, Jen. It's illegal to create an emergency by stalling and then to evade normal bidding processes. The preliminary work on the pool has created outrage. It's like 50 shades of different blue. And that's what you get when you dodge the legally mandated bidding processes shoddy work. So the reflecting pool, or the renaming of the Kennedy Center, which we are litigating, the toxic dumping of dirt out of the destruction of the East Wing, also litigating that. They're all corruption scandals in and of themselves, but also living metaphors for the incompetence of this administration. So it is shocking, and the American people are paying attention. They don't like what's being done to our precious national treasures.
No, they don't. And they also don't like that he's making a boatload of money, and so is his family. Now, the other thing they're trying to say here is that this inflated contract for the reflecting pool isn't being paid by taxpayers. There's so much gaslighting. So that's why I have to talk to you about these sorts of things. But is instead being funded by the fees that people pay when they visit national parks. I mean, my question here is, isn't it ultimately all the same pool of money? I mean, won't they then have to use taxpayer funds to fund national parks? It feels a little bit like this is definitely not taxpayer money.
Who are they fooling? Those are also sums that are paid by taxpayers and others into the Treasury, and they're being squandered. Just look at the terrible, ill-planned work on the reflecting pool. It's going to be a fiasco for Donald Trump's birthday, and it'll still be one by the time we get to the 250th birthday of our nation. So all of this illegality is the subject of litigation. It is outrageous. And then, of course, you get into situations where Donald Trump is profiting himself or his cronies in a way that we've never seen before in American history.
No, we have certainly not. We are in a very unique point here. While I have you, Norma, I want to ask you about something else that broke tonight, because multiple outlets are reporting that the Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll, the woman who back in 2023, a jury found President Trump liable for sexually abusing and defaming. What do you make of the Justice Department targeting one of Trump's perceived enemies, and certainly with the history here, this one specifically?
It would be outrageous on its own for Donald Trump, according to reports, because there's an issue about a single answer to a question in a deposition. There are countless thousands of depositions taken in our country every day. Did they pile them all up on a table at the Justice Department, Jen, and just happen to fall on a page in the E. Jean Carroll deposition? I've been doing criminal law for 35 years. Nobody prosecutes a single answer in a deposition. It's unheard of. But what makes the illegality and the impropriety and the shock so clear here is the pattern. He went after Tish James, his perceived adversary. He went after Jim Comey. So many of these cases, those cases were thrown out. If anything develops here, it'll be thrown out as well. But he uses the investigation as a form of punishment. It is shocking it should be shocking to every American to have a president abuse his most awesome power of criminal investigation and prosecution in this way. It is not American. It's like something out of Soviet Russia, and we should all be outraged.
Norm Eisen, you're losing your voice. I'm going to send you some tea. We need you fighting the fights. Thank you for being here.